Welcome to another episode of the Peak Potential Success Show. My name is Fong, and today we have another great guest. She comes highly recommended by other show hosts and other guests of mine, mainly because she's been helping a lot of people all around the world, inspiring them, encouraging them to be towards greatness, towards excelling in their lives, no matter what kind of challenges they encounter. She has been designated as one of the 50 over 50 women making impact in Cincinnati. She is an accounting expert. She is a leadership expert, but that's not all. She's been able to leverage a lot of that skill set into direct sales, business startups, franchises, and finances. She has risen in a lot of ranks in corporate America in the past, and she's also the CEO of DHL Financial and Living Your Greatness. So please welcome accounting and leadership expert, best-selling author, speaker, and empowerment coach, Ms. Diana Hooker.
Oh, thank you so much, Fong. Great to be here.
Hey, thanks for being here. Always a joy speaking with people who's achieved so much things and also helping others achieve greatness as well. For somebody like yourself, you have a background in accounting, and it's not very common for people to go, you know what? I think I'm gonna go and do some leadership stuff and direct sales and business startups. They usually stay in their lanes as an accountant. So what is your origin story? How did you first become an accountant and then from there excel into so many different areas?
Right, exactly. You're right. I do get the comment that I am not the typical accountant. And usually when people have a meeting with me, they're like, that is not what I was expecting. So it was really interesting when I was in high school. I actually took an accounting class, fell in love with accounting because I love numbers. I love problem solving. And honestly, everything that I do is just a form of problem solving. If you think about empowerment coach or speaking or writing or helping someone solve a problem or figure out how that they can get to the next level in their businesses or in their personal lives, it's just problem solving. And I was happy just being an accountant. And I actually had a dream, probably like 2015, about writing a book, and I felt like it was divine intervention, God saying, write this book. And I was really inspired by my clients when I was meeting with them, doing their accounting or preparing their taxes. And I would ask them, tell me something great. And then they would say, I don't have anything great. And I'm like, seriously? I'm like, well, just tell me a story. And then they would tell me a story, and I would turn around and retell them what they just said to me. And I would point out the greatness in that. Like, oh my goodness, do you realize how much stronger you are because you went through this adversity? And they were like, oh, right, you're right. So that then developed into everything else because I woke up, said, yes, I'm going to write a book. And then, then I'm going to speak on stage, and then empowerment coach helping people get to where they want to go.
That is awesome. I mean, there are a lot of people who have achieved so many great things and they don't actually realize it until somebody else says it in a different way. Even with a little bit more energy and excitement, it makes it sound
Exactly.
so much more amazing. And people say, wow, I want that. You got that already. So that transition from accounting, which is usually like really left-brained, number crunching, you don't talk to people. People who are in accounting because they don't want to go network that much. They don't want to be meeting more people and breaking ice. But you broke through that and you're
Yes.
going out there meeting lots of people, speaking on stages. What was that transition like for you? Or was that something that you're kind of natural at?
I think I'm naturally good at that. Although I will tell you that I was extremely shy when I was young. And, now looking back and knowing what I know in coaching is those were like limiting beliefs that I had, that had been conditioned at an early age that I had to be shy or I had to be the background, not seen, not heard either way. And, but believe it or not, when I was 11 years old, I had moved from one school to another. And I said, I am no longer going to be shy. And I literally walked into a classroom and walked up to the first person saw, and I'm like, hello, I'm Diana. And I, put up my hand to shake their hand. Now, of course, they thought that was really odd that I was trying to shake their hand at 11 years old, but that was a transition. And so I just put myself in uncomfortable situations and found out that they weren't as uncomfortable as I thought they were.
Was that something that was like mentally? very challenging as you're doing it? Was it something you go, okay, today I have to do something different. Today I have to do something challenging. Today I have to put myself into something that's uncomfortable. Is that something that you kept on kind of reminding yourself? And when it got hard, do you go, okay, today I'll take a day off? Do you go through that?
Right. You know what? That is a really great question. And I just saw this movie recently, and that was a challenge that someone had put to their daughter. You know, they had passed away and they'd left little videos for them, and they said, do something uncomfortable every single day. Now, do I do something uncomfortable every single day? No. But there are times where I really want to do something, and I especially think about when I was younger, and I'd be like, oh, I want to do that, but that limiting belief would like hold me back, and I would have to push, to go, okay, do I want to stay here or do I want to make a difference? To encourage myself to move. And sometimes it was a lot harder than other days. And it's not that I still don't get, butterflies in my stomach. It's not that I don't get nervous, but I know from experience that it feels so much better on the other side.
So speaking for today now, what do you do? What's your process of attempting different things or achieving challenges? How do you go through that fear or that nervousness?
So the biggest thing is in the moment when I am feeling nervous about something, and this is what I encourage my clients to do as well, when that thought is, I'm not good enough, I'm not ready, whatever the thought is that's going on, is I will literally get up, or even if I'm already standing, I will go and get into a different location and I will move, I will shake. I mean, like I'm like dancing and I'm like, I'm the greatest, I'm the best, I can do this. Whatever it is that I'm trying to achieve in that moment, I am literally doing that. And then I'll come back and go, okay, let's get this done. This just happened recently. I auditioned for a Great American Speak Off. And there were 26,000 contestants. We were each given 60 seconds to share our message. And I had found out about it on Monday, and the audition was on Saturday. 60 seconds. I know we get used to that maybe in networking, but really it had to be concise.
Mhm.
Hook, lesson, who I am, what I do. And when I was filling out the application to do it, I thought, oh, 60 seconds. What if I'm not good enough? What if I can't get it into 60 seconds? What if my message isn't important? Like all of those thoughts were going through my mind. And I'm in my office right now, and I literally went over to the other side of the room, and I'm like jumping around and, talking about how amazing I am. I already had the application up. I came and I sat down and I went dink and I pushed it, right? And the great news is, guess what? When I did the audition, I was one of the 150 semifinalists
Wow.
for the Speak Off. And within 24 hours of getting my golden ticket for that Speak Off, I also received a message from a TV talk show host that had heard my 60 seconds, was so impressed with it, and now I'm going to be flying out to LA to be spotlighted on her show.
That is awesome.
Now,
Congrats.
what if I had allowed my limiting belief that I wasn't ready, that my message wasn't important? I would have never known that those things were possible.
That's true. Wow, that is absolutely amazing, and congratulations on all that. I
Oh,
could just
thank you.
imagine in your home where we could hear her yelling in the background. She must have a new challenge coming in, so good for her kind of thing.
Oh yeah, there was one day my husband, came in and he's like, "What are you doing?" Because I have an office in my home, and he's just like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm preparing for a challenge."
And after a while, I was like, oh, it's that time of day again. She's up there preparing. When it comes to going out there and speaking, that's another thing that you added to your toolbox. Was there anything there that became kind of an aha moment for you, where you go, okay, I never realized this without doing it, but now when I'm doing it, I need to tweak this, or I need to change that, or I need to adjust this. What are some of those things that got you more comfortable on stage?
Well, I have done a lot of different speaker training, because I also think that you need to be prepared. It's not just natural talent, but learning whatever it is that you need to do. And the thing about speaking The best and most important thing is that when we walk out on stage, and honestly, we're on stage every moment, whether it's a physical stage in front of thousands or just one-on-one, we're always on stage. But the best thing to do is to take a pause. So often it's like we want to get to the mic and just immediately start talking, but instead just take a pause, look everyone, look around, look at everyone as much as you can, and then enjoy the moment. And the other thing of it is that people have no idea what you planned to say. So if you mess up,
You
just
don't
keep
know.
going.
That is so, so true. I tell that to a lot of my clients too. I mean, don't worry about it. If you screw up, it's fine because they don't know. And if you're t sharing about your life, they don't know your life either. So you can make it even sound a little bit more interesting if you wanted to. So one of those things that people don't know what they don't know. And I really like the fact that you talked about the we're always on. And when I watch people on at networking events or when they're speaking on stages, I love watching them. Okay, from the moment I see their face behind the stage to them walking in front of stage, or from the audience walking up, how are they walking? What's their demeanor? How is their posture? What's their face like? And it's very amazing to see how some people are like all down in dumps. They walk up and say, and then all of a sudden they're out. I'm like, well, that's not very consistent. So I usually say, hey, we're always on. Be presentable, be professional at all times because you never know who's watching. Similar to when you go to Disneyland or Disney World and you're watching parades. I love
Yeah.
watching that last person go through the door and see if they actually stop dancing. Because if they do, oh, they forgot that people are still seeing.
You know what? I've never thought about that. That is such, yeah. Do they stay? Do they perform the entire time?
I
Perfect.
can tell you this, Disney's pretty professional. They go all
Oh,
the way to the back, and then once that last scene closes, you still see them dancing. That's pretty cool. Um, when you're working with clients, what are some of the most common things that they bring up as their challenges? Like I know you mentioned limiting beliefs for yourself. How do you help them overcome their limiting beliefs or other challenges that are common that come up with them?
so, our mind is so incredible, right? And we only use a fraction of it. And so the common thing that I find when I'm talking with my clients, because why we're not living to our fullest potential in our lives, in our business, and our relationships is because we're only tapping into a fraction of our mind. And the most common, like limiting beliefs or the conditioned thoughts is that they are not worthy, that they're not good enough, and then they're not lovable, that they have to be a perfection in order to get where they want to go or to get what it is that they want. And if they not, then they have failed, which is not true. Imperfection is the perfection of doing anything that we want to do because every time we fall, every time, we make a mistake, we can learn from that and it makes us stronger. It makes us better for the next time.
That's very, very true. Now, unfortunately, a lot of that limiting belief comes from the people that's around us, people who loves us, people who are protecting us, and they come from a good place. They're
Oh,
sharing
absolutely.
their thoughts, they're holding you close because they don't want to see you fail, because one, they don't know what it's like. They've never been through it.
Mhm.
So how do you help people navigate through that? Because hey, it's my family, my parents, friends, whatever. I don't want to lose them. But if I don't listen to them, or if I start telling them that they're stupid and then they don't know what they're talking about, then I start cutting ties. How do you deal with all that?
So, yes, a lot of our beliefs have been conditioned into us, and it's our perception of it, right? And I do believe that people have the best and they want the best for us, but a lot of times when they're giving us advice, it is their own limiting beliefs that they're actually telling us, right? Like, oh, you shouldn't do that because, and it's maybe because they don't have the courage. So how do I help my clients overcome that and see that for themselves? Is that we do kind of like the what if? Like, what if we do this and we fail, what is the worst thing that could possibly ever happen to you? What if you succeed? And we paint the picture of what it is that they want to create and live in that, not the how, but the actual feeling and the emotion around it. Because most of the limiting beliefs, it's emotional. It's not logical. Because if we logically think about the things that are holding us back, we're like, that's insane, that's crazy, right? And of course, we have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, and that's the subconscious mind is the largest, and it's what's actually driving us, and it's collecting all of these stories, all of these things that people are saying. So we nurture what it is that we need it to be. The limiting belief may have been created to protect us in the moment, but it no longer protects us. So it's a process to figure that out, but emotional change the state. Like I said, even like going and doing the dance, anytime you start having that belief where you can't get up and move, do not stay in that space. Celebrate the small wins. So when you do something that you get to that next step, I don't care how small it is, dance or whatever it is that you love. Not, I love to dance, so I always say dance, you know. But some people don't like to dance, but whatever it is that, makes you happy and it moves you forward, go and do that and celebrate every little milestone that you have. And and encourage those people that have those limiting beliefs that they're trying to share with you to join you on the journey of, well, let's just see what could happen.
Exactly. And for those people who don't like to dance, that could be one of those uncomfortable challenges that they could start implementing and see what happens. It's not going to be as bad as you think. And I truly feel that as a father, I think that dancing is a natural thing because lots of babies, toddlers, they just start bouncing once they hear good music. And
Yeah,
it's not something you tell them to do, but they just naturally do it. So us as human beings, I'm sure that we can all dance and just do it our way and feel good about it.
exactly. Who says it's right or wrong the way you move, right? If it makes you happy, do it. One of the other exercises that I do have my clients do is to look at themselves in the mirror
Mm.
and talk to themselves like, you are amazing, you are magnificent, you are a star. And they have to do that every day, almost like, giving themselves the high five in the mirror, and just saying that I am so amazing. And that sometimes it's hard for people to do as well.
As you're presenting these challenges to your clients, it's usually what's the right word? It's usually mind-boggling to them because they've never done it before. It feels awkward, as you said. And then eventually things change. They start growing, they start realizing, hey, my life is more happy, more opportunistic and whatnot. But there's that period of time where it feels really, really weird. And then they feel that, wait a minute, this isn't me anymore. And people around them saying, hey, this isn't you. This isn't the same person that we grew up knowing and all that kind of stuff. So then the authenticity seems to feel a bit off. So what's that line between authenticity and growth and expanding that elastic band so that you can change towards who you want to be? How do you differentiate authenticity with that?
Right. You know what? I think it's just repetition that ends up happening because it does seem awkward in the beginning, maybe inauthentic. But as you begin to do it and you have fun with it, because it's all about fun. Life is not easy, but it does not have to be hard. So if we are having fun in the moment, then it will change. So that difference is when we can start having fun with the difficult situations, with something that makes us uncomfortable. And I always say that you don't have to step outside the comfort zone, but let's just expand the boundaries and make our comfort zone wider. So get comfortable with doing the uncomfortable. And that's just what I have found is like when they start having fun, that's the line. And then they start seeing it. Of course, we're having these checkpoints, and each time that we're talking about, like, so what came up for you? What were you able to do? I can see the transformation in them a lot of times, even before they can. And then it's when they're like, oh, it wasn't so bad when I was looking in the mirror. It wasn't so bad when I was dancing, or hey, my kids joined me while I was doing it because they thought it was fun too, whatever.
And then they start lighting up by sharing the fact that, oh, my friends started joining in, my family started joining in, and we're all having fun. And you go, don't want to say it, but I told you so.
Exactly.
Um, Now, as you expanded into business, entrepreneurship, and I'm getting very fuzzy right now. Give me a
You
moment.
are.
All right. So, as you're expanding into entrepreneurship, you're speaking, you're writing books, and all that kind of stuff, what were some of the unknowns for you? So, for instance, you said speaking was one of those things that was very natural, and therefore, and also very enjoyable.
Mhm.
Therefore, as you grew, you kind of just implemented new things, right? But when it comes to, let's say, working with startups or working with franchises and all that kind of stuff, that was potentially a little bit outside of what your usual tasks were. So, what were some of those challenges or some of those aha moments for you?
Well, it that is so funny. Whenever not say I always say funny because everything is I'm always enjoying everything. So
Eventually, the bad stuff, the negative stuff, can be told in a way where it is funny.
exactly. When I graduated from college with my accounting degree, I went, oh my gosh, did I learn anything? And I was like, okay, now I'm going to go out and do this. And my first accounting job, I was the only accountant. I did not, it was a startup. I did not have anyone to ask, am I doing this right? And we didn't, have the internet access that we do today to go, okay, how do you do this? Is this right? Or look up different things. And so there was immediate fear of, oh my goodness, like what if I do this all wrong and we all end up in jail because I, have done all of this wrong. And so it was overcoming that fear of that I had to know everything because there were resources, even though I didn't think that there were. I did find other people that I could tap into. And also knowing I had learned what I needed to learn when I was in school, right? So that was the biggest challenge was my insecurity of do I know how to do this? And then being having the confidence to actually ask other people for help because I did have that, I needed to know it. Like you're coming to me as the expert. I need to have every single answer, and I don't. So I got really good at saying, you know what? I don't know the answer to that right now, but the next time we meet, I will have an answer for you. Or let me get back to you on that. And then, of course, I tap into other people in the industry, or, I will do research and find the answer and expanding my knowledge in that area. But honestly, that was the biggest thing is not believing that I had to have all the answers.
Very, very much agree with that. And on top of that, many people don't realize that people understand people to a certain extent. They know that you may or may not know everything. So they actually are more appreciative of the fact that, hey, you noted that you don't know, but you're gonna find out. And they actually appreciate that extra effort that you're putting in there instead of BSing them and say, yeah, you can do it, only to find out that you don't.
Exactly. And that is exactly what I found. I mean, perfect point is that people respect and honor you more when you're honest and authentic in that you don't have all the answers, but we can figure this out together.
So something I want to jump back to, you talked about presenting a story from your clients in a way that's even more exciting and even more amazing than they did themselves. And secondly, you talked about that 60-second pitch or
Yeah.
story you created. What's your process? How do you create a let's say a 60-minute talk or a 5-minute talk or a 10-minute talk, whatever it is, so that it's effective and impactful? And also when it comes to storytelling, what's your process with that? What do you find that you can actually go, okay, I'm going to say it this way, I'm going to put it this way, so that it's even more impactful?
So my process is what is the ultimate goal of what it is that I'm writing or what I am talking about because, as you mentioned, I'm also an author. And so that's always my process. What is it that I want to convey? Because every story has a point and every point has a story, regardless of how you are going to present it, right? And so I literally will write down all of my ideas for that particular talk. And then if I only have 60 seconds, then I'm like, what is the most important thing for me to convey at the end of this conversation? What is it that you need to know beyond a shadow of a doubt at the end? And then make sure that that's what's in there. I also think that starting off, especially when you only have 60 seconds, is that you have to have a hook to bring people in that wants to make them listen to the rest of the story, whether it is 60 seconds or if it's 60 minutes or reading a story,
Mm.
reading an article. You've got to bring them in. And I don't know, I feel like it's like almost like shock factor for the audition that I just did, that I got the golden ticket in the stage. My opening line is I locked myself in the bathroom to escape the rage on the other side.
Tell me more.
Want to know what happened. Why was I protecting myself? What happened from that point? What did I learn?
Mm. Totally agree with that as well. I mean, there's a lot of things that you talked about is something that I am very I could relate to
Mhm.
because when I look at people speaking, I go, okay, what's the most memorable thing that they did? Or do I want to talk to this person after they get off stage and whatnot? And there's so many people out there who goes, no, I need to memorize my speech this way. I need to write it this way. What's your process when you're rehearsing or preparing for a presentation? Do you do memorization? Do you do cue cards? Do you do all that kind of stuff? Or do you just, I know my main points, I'm just going to go with the flow?
Well, it depends on the timeline. Obviously, I'm always respectful of what time I have available to stay within that. So, yes, I outline everything that I want to make the points. I have stories with almost every single point that I make throughout the presentation. And I just rehearse, 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 rehearse. Do I write it down? I think I write down bullet points of things that I want to make sure, but in my mind, I visualize what it is I'm going to say. And even if I have slides, my slides are pictures, they're never words because I want people actually paying attention to what I'm saying and not reading the words that are on the screen.
Mhm.
So it's just practice, 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 because the more that you actually practice it, the more it becomes your dialogue, it becomes your cadence, and you do not need the cue cards.
Mhm.
So I think they say for every, hour that you are on stage, you need to spend at least 30 hours preparing for it.
Sounds about right. Um, when it comes to networking, lots of
Mhm.
people out there are afraid of networking because they're either too shy or they don't know what to say. What are some of your tips or little tricks that you can help these people with? Because networking is something that I find is very important. Everything that we do is really relationships, regardless of how many hoops that you have to jump through. Eventually, it's the relationship that got you that first opportunity. It's that relationship that built that rapport that allowed you to get your foot in the door, anything. So, how does one attempt to network effectively and also leave an impact?
So I am a master networker, constantly networking. I belong to networking groups and just had this conversation with someone yesterday about networking because they don't feel that they have that skill to do it. And when I am networking, it's a lot. I mean, it's like you're using all of your senses and in totally engaging with the person or the group of people. And I always ask the question. I'm always asking questions because I want to know about you. It's not about me making sure that you know all about me. Because here's the thing is if I am genuinely wanting to know who you are, what it is that you do, and how I can serve you. Like, who do I know that is perfect for you to meet, or that would be a perfect client for you? And I'm getting to know that through the questions that we're asking and truly engaging and actively listening to what you're saying, then it will expand exponentially for myself. And I'm not doing it for that reason. I truly want to know about you. I want to know what it is that makes you so great at what you do, and who it is that you serve, and how you serve them, and how you can make the impact so that we can make this huge impact together. I think it's Maya Angelou who says that people will not remember what you say, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And that's what I'm doing when I'm asking the questions is I want to know you.
And I think that's one of the main things that people don't remember. They always think about themselves. They go, what do I say? I don't have anything to share. But the biggest key is if you're curious and you're interested, then that could go a long way because you actually make them feel empowered. You make them feel inspired because they're sharing everything now. And all you really need to do is ask questions, go, uh-huh, interesting. And then next question.
Right. Well, and I mean, it is, but I'm actively listening,
Yeah.
right? I'm not thinking about what question am I going to ask next. I'm really listening and I will expand on it because people will give you little tidbits of information and you're like, oh my goodness, I didn't know. I mean, just recently in conversations that I've had, with just even clients, and I'm constantly asking questions. And I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't know that you actually went to high school with my son, you know? And it was just general conversation about nothing to do with their, taxes, because it was actually a tax client that I was talking with, but just in general. So, hey, what are you doing? Where'd you grow up? What was your favorite things to do? That kind of thing. And so, yeah, actively listening is important.
Awesome. And I'm sure that you can make taxes sound amazing too. But
Oh, sure.
when you add in some of the other stuff, I'm pretty sure it gets even more entertaining and enjoyable to listen to. I swear, I have a friend in insurance, and I have never met anybody else talk about insurance as exciting, as passionate, as amazing as this guy does. He went through a 15-20 minute segment about insurance with ketchup bottles and hats and salt shakers. I'm like, wow, this is a whole production.
It is. Well, I think if people walked past my office while I am preparing someone's taxes, they're probably amazed at how much laughter is coming out of the room. And even when I have to say, oh, and by the way, you owe this amount of money, you know, they're like, okay,
Happy to pay it.
happy to
Um,
pay.
I know you surround yourself with amazing people. And what is the biggest takeaway when you're working with your mentors, your coaches, that helped you get you to where you are today?
The biggest takeaway is not saying, I know. Because here's the thing, we have all probably, done different workshops, worked with different coaches, and they may have even used some of the same techniques or strategies. But when you say, I know, you cut off learning anything else because wherever you were then, you're in a different place now. And that same technique will apply to you differently. And that's what I have found for myself is that when somebody is saying something to me and I'm like, oh, I've already done this before, I stop myself and go, no, let's be open. How can I apply it differently this time? And that's the biggest thing that has helped me really excel.
Mhm. That is awesome because the thing is, when you hear it, you could have heard it differently. And you could be hearing it in a different area with different people. And that is a completely different experience. And you can apply it differently. So it's once you say I know, it's one of those things that's kind of uh-oh, kind of take a step back, realign yourself and see what you can do with it because you really do stunt your opportunities. You stunt your mind from seeing what else is out there. So thank you very much for that. What is the next big thing for you? You've done so many things already. You're out there networking. You're out there building businesses. What's the next thing?
So the next big thing, I was listening to a book. It was actually called Fierce Conversations. And in the front of, or the preface, she uses a quote, I think it's from Ernest Hemingway. And it was like, how did you go bankrupt? And the response was gradual at first, and then all of a sudden. And so, yes, I have been doing all of these things and they have been, great milestones, next step kind of thing. But there has been a period where I feel like I've just been treading water, like kind of like running in place, dancing in place. And now everything is like totally exploding. So, as I said, I'm going to be on the talk show. I'm going to be flying out to LA, sometime in May, to record that. I've been auditioning for all of the TEDx's, all of them. And I got a second audition coming up this weekend for one in the Florida Keys. And so, to me, it's about getting the message out. It's not necessarily my message, but I feel like it's important to make an impact. Every day, I pray that my words and my actions make a positive impact in the lives of the people that I come into contact with. And so, finishing my solo book, getting it out, as well as being able to speak on stages, across the world and just getting that message. So that's the next big thing is just getting my message out.
You have golden nuggets in everything that I ask. Even that your next big thing has lots of golden nuggets in there. So then it starts to set up for this next one, which is okay, if you have to limit it down to one main message for everybody out there to remember you for, what's that one main message that is so important?
Well, the name of my coaching business is Living Your Greatness. And I truly believe that all the negative things that have happened in our lives have actually been putting us on a path to greatness. Every lesson that we have learned, every character that we have earned has made us stronger and has prepared us for the next big thing in our lives. And to just enjoy the process and live in the greatness that you were designed for.
Great words to live by. Before I let you go, I do have five rapid fire questions for you. I know you like improv, so we'll
I
do some
do.
quick stuff. Give me the first thing that comes to mind. You're stranded on a deserted island, one food to eat for the rest of your life, no consequence, so you'll still be in shape. What would that be?
Mango.
Awesome. Hollywood calls and goes, "Hey, we love your story. You're very inspirational. We would love to do a biopic of you. Who would you cast to play you?"
Who would I cast to play me? Reese Witherspoon.
She shows up at your door and goes, "Hey, I got casted to play you. Let's hang out. Let's get to know each other." And you go, "Don't worry about it. I got the entire night planned out." What does that look like?
Oh, you know this answer. We're going to go dancing.
I should have known. So you dance all night. She's hungry. And then you go, "Don't worry about it. Come back to my place. I got the special t dish I've prepared. Come on back, and we're gonna have some fun." What's that special dish?
The special dish is going to be my famous uh, vegan burger.
Nice. You're on a road trip, many hours, only one song. What's that one song you don't mind listening to?
The one song that makes me dance every time I hear it is I'll Stop the World and Melt with You.
Great choice. Give me a number from one to four.
Three.
One, two, three. So the word is pinball machine. If you were to use this as a metaphor for success, how is success like a pinball machine?
Well, sometimes you just got to pull back, take your shot. You're going to get banged back and forth, but we're always going to full tilt.
Nicely done. So that's how success is like a pinball machine. Thank you very much for your time, all your words of advice and wisdom. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you, get your books, get your content? How do we reach out?
The best way to get in touch with me is through my website, livingyourgreatness.net. And also, I have a mastermind that's coming up, and I am interviewing for spots for people who would like to join me on that, and they can schedule an interview with me at callwithdiana.com.
Awesome. And I'm sure you're going to be popping up on a lot of TEDx talks coming up soon. So
Absolutely.
watch out for that. So everybody make sure you connect with Diana. She has great content, lots of great books and also videos and all that stuff. So please reach out to her. And until next time, she's Diana. My name is Fong. Today is the day to lock your peak potential. We'll see you later.